Igloo, huh?
Yeah, it's been a week.
All right. Welcome back to another West Coast Fanatics Friday night. It's been a little while since the Packers and Lions game happened on Thanksgiving, but we wanted to take last Friday off to give everybody a little bit of time to spend with their families and whatnot without having to worry about having the old internet show going on. But we are back, so we're going to recap that Lions game. Jake did all of his notes yesterday already, so we're going to skip over all of his topics. If you want to know what Jake's thoughts were on the game, you can watch his video from yesterday. Other than that, Simon, Bryant, and myself are here, so we are going to go through the 3 stars and the underrated performer. So Bryant has the number 1 star.
Pretty clearly for me, it was Rashawn Gary. I mean, there's other people that had great games, but Rashawn Gary, 3 sacks. One of them caused a fumble that returned for a touchdown. Another one, the other fumble was on a 4th down.
My bad.
And then, got the only game ball because everyone else plays so well, but you got the game ball from Matt LaFleur because let's not forget that's the field he tore his ACL on just last year. So just an amazing game from him. So it was awesome to see.
Yeah. So 2 things. 1, Barry commented that Jake's fill-in is now here, so we got that going for us. Barry, there's something in the mail for you. It should be there on Monday, so be on the lookout for that. Send you a little thank you for commenting on the show so much. Okay. 2nd star, we went with Jordan Love. He was 22 of 32, 268 yards and 3 touchdowns. There was 1 drop. That could have been another completion for him, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. And Jordan Love was very good on 3rd downs. I mean, to go from where he's been over, a couple game stretch of the Raiders, Broncos, Steelers games to where he is now, it's night and day. And Matt LaFleur said as much too in the same amount of words, night and day. But we'll talk more about Jordan Love a little bit later. He's got his own segment on the show. So Bryant is going to cover for Jake to do the 3rd star and the underrated performer.
That would be Simon.
Yeah. What did I say?
You said Bryant.
Yeah, we don't even need Simon to talk. We could have left him off.
I'm just here to look pretty. So
you're feeling at everything today. Then.
Simon's covering for Jake.
I'm just taking a lot of L's this week. So I'll just hold on 1 second. I'm doing great. Okay, so our 3rd star is Jonathan Owens, and I mean, what a game for this guy, right? Fumble recovery for a touchdown. He was seemingly in on every single play. He was just, I mean, I saw a crazy stat where his tackle was average tackle depth was like 3.1 yards or something insane. Where like for a safety, that's unheard of. So he was just making plays at the line of scrimmage all night.
Montgomery on one that was just a couple yards.
It's going to be interesting what they do when all these people come back because I mean, Johnson Jr. is playing okay too. And I think he was the one that absolutely just depleted one of their ball carriers on the one play. Like it's been fun. I mean, don't get me wrong; they've been burning some coverage plays, but they have absolutely been smacking some people. And I feel like that kind of energy and that kind of like just oomph on the defense has been very helpful.
Yeah, stick with me on this because I know we've talked about it, but it's almost like all 4 of the safeties complement each other really well. Whereas we've talked about Rudy Ford and Darnell Savage missing a lot of tackles, but they are pretty good in coverage.
Yeah.
And then the vice versa with Jonathan Owens and Anthony Johnson Jr. maybe not being as strong in coverage, but they're both pretty sure tacklers.
Yeah.
So if we could just, make them into 2 safeties, we'd have 2 really good ones.
I might be able to do that in the future at some point.
Then all bets are off. Then NFL is going to just get wild.
that'd be
a character.
Yeah, right. Give me Giannis Antetokounmpo's body with Rashawn Gary's muscle structure.
Okay, I slightly misspoke. 3.7 yards was his average depth.
All right, well, you're fired.
Yeah, well,
I'll tell you something that's funny about that 3.7 stat that you showed me later when we get later in the show.
Okay.
All right. Simon, who'd you go with for underrated performer?
Yeah, I went Kenny Clark.
It's a good one.
So he didn't he was just like a menace all night. He had 8 pressures on 43 pass rush attempts. which is disgustingly good.
I might have.
And what's that?
Might have it for you here. Here we go. You said Kenny Clark is a menace.
Yeah.
I got
think
the
he
one.
spilled on Rashawn Gary's fumble recovery. I think he's the one that forced Goff over.
Oh, this is a play where he absolutely just runs the guy back 8 yards. Just not a chance.
Got held while doing it too, but
yeah. I mean, that would have been a pretty.
We were playing the refs again this game. Yeah. Well, what they were calling against us. So.
Dude.
Yeah. But he had a good game overall.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so Bryant, wide receivers.
I mean, this is another game in a row. It was awesome, right? Like none of them. Okay, well, obviously Christian Watson had a huge game.
Good call, by the way.
Yeah, started up with the contested catch right off the bat. I love that, and the thing I like most about that is I'm sure you guys heard, but like Matt LaFleur was talking about how he had talked to Jordan Love earlier that morning and was thinking about taking that play call out. And Jordan was like, no, I really want this play call. What do they do? I mean, yeah, people are going to say, oh, he underthrew it. Well, guess what? That's a very long throw to somebody who's very fast. But he put it in a place that Watson could jump up and get the ball. And that's exactly what happened. And like, that was an instant boost for this team. We talked about wanting to score fast, get the crowd out of it, everything like that. So that happened. Jaden Reed, holy cow, on that first touchdown. I mean, just like, yeah, you can say there's an element of luck in it that Christian Watson happened to run the wrong route and that the ball went right through that window. But the concentration it takes and the placement, really, if Watson or no one was there, Jordan Love hit that ball right between the numbers. Yeah. So he really gave Reed no chance but to catch it like he was catching it. Malik Keith stepped up in a huge way. Dobbs showed great hands again. So, and then that contested catches, 8 of 9 on contested catches, insane, right? So, go ahead and share that stat again, Tyler. I forgot what you said that it was, like 20 something out of 60 something, opportunities. So
coming into the game, they were 14 of 51, which is 27%, which is atrocious.
Yeah.
And then they were 8 of 9, like you said, against the Lions. That's 88.9%. So they over tripled their season contested catch numbers, and now they are 20. Now they are 22 for 65, which puts them
still not great, but that's 30%. A great jump. And then I seen one stat today that I thought was interesting. Did you guys know that Jaden Reed leads the entire NFL in yards per reception out of the slot? At 16.6 or 5 per reception.
Does he lead the NFL in 30+ yard catches too?
I would have to look, but I seen that stat earlier today, and I was like, damn. So
the fact that he's even in that conversation is amazing.
And I think, honestly, he'll play this game, and I think he earned the 2 days off of practice. They're just trying to keep him healthy because he's going to help in the run game and in the pass game so much. So hopefully he'll play because we definitely need him. But, just great game by the wide receivers.
From his comments, it sounds like he's going to play.
Yeah, I think
like he was just kind of sitting out for rest.
Yeah, exactly. And that's crazy that, like, you see Matt LaFleur almost like if they don't get at least 2 limited practices, a lot of times they won't play. That tells you how much they think of him already. As a rookie, they're okay with him getting 1 practice, a limited practice, and it's likely he's going to roll out there. Maybe he'll be limited. We'll see.
Yeah, I think Dontavian Wicks being back. Yeah, Dontavian Wicks being back could play a part in that. So could Malik Heath's play. So they could just put him on a snap count too.
Yeah.
But as far as rookie tight ends go, unfortunately, this segment gets shorter now with Luke Musgrave going to IR. That's unfortunate. Hopefully he can get back before the end of the season, but obviously we wouldn't want him to rush it and then end up having a worse injury that affects him more. Not that I think that if he were to like re-injure his lacerated kidney, that he'd have to like not make it to training camp, but just for Luke Musgrave, the person, that his injury doesn't get worse. So hopefully he can come back, but if not, we're not going to be like, oh my God, why didn't they rush him back? Because Luke Musgrave's future is more important than the last 3 or 4 games of this season. So Tucker Kraft.
I want to break that record, though.
Yeah. Tucker Kraft, in the first absence of Luke Musgrave, played 54 out of 56 offensive snaps. That is 96%. And he caught his first career touchdown, which he absolutely embarrassed Aiden Hutchinson on. Like, just chucked him. He was all off balance, looking like a drunk chick stumbling out of a bar. So Tucker Kraft is really the rookie tight end segment now. Ben Sims played 14 snaps, and that was it. Tucker Kraft is our tight end room now. Josiah DeGuara is listed as questionable for Sunday, but it's all systems go with Tucker Kraft. Onto the passing game distribution. Technically, 8 players were targeted. The one target to Ben Sims was kind of at his feet. It was more of a throwaway than a target, so I'm not going to count that one. So I'm going to say 7 players were targeted. Still have not had a game where Jordan Love has targeted fewer than 7 players. So 3 touchdowns to 3 different players is fantastic, and he still spread the ball around really well. Jaden Reed had 8 targets. He had 4 catches on 8 targets. Christian Watson had 5 catches on 7 targets. Malik Heath had 4 catches on 4 targets. Romeo Dobbs had 3 catches on 4 targets. Should have been 4 out of 4. I'll say that. A.J. Dillon, 3 for 3. Tucker Kraft, 2 for 2. And then Patrick Taylor and Ben Sims each had 1 target. So still fantastic distribution in the passing game from Jordan Love. It might be my favorite thing that he's done this year is how well he's distributed the ball.
And hit the middle of the field.
That too.
Help
Absolutely.
Distributing the ball.
Simon, how did the offensive line play? Oh, can you hear him? I can't hear him.
I can't. Are you muted, Simon?
I wonder if it's because he plugged in headphones.
Possibly.
No. Okay. All right. Well,
Can you hear me?
now I can.
I don't know what happened there. It glitched out.
The fun part's about doing a live show.
Technical difficulties. Sorry about that. They played really well. Didn't allow a sack, and you got to give some credit to Matt LaFleur. I think outside of Aiden Hutchinson, their pass rush is very minimal. So him sliding extra protection his way, using different guys. I think they had one play where they pulled Myers from spot to go over, and that was just like crazy to watch. And I know like not offensive line, but I thought they did a good job giving extra help. With like AJ Dillon went over there. Sometimes Ben Sims had a couple plays where he kicked out to chip in on helping block Hutchinson too. And really no one else was even, in my opinion, got a touch on Jordan Love.
Hutchinson had 5 pressures. Aaliyah McNeil also had 5. There was only 5 quarterback hits on Jordan Love, 2 by Hutchinson, and then 3 guys each had 1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess there was a couple plays where
they got a little bit of pressure, but obviously not enough.
I mean, you take 0 sacks every game.
I would say Jordan Love made 2 plays too where he saved sacks. The one where he was getting brought down and jumped forward and threw it. Probably that's the one that I probably went to Ben Sims' feet. And there's one other one I can't think of it off the top of the head, but I don't remember. But he saved 2 sacks for sure. So really good by him. But overall, really good performance by the O-line.
Might have been on the one to Dobbs across the middle of the field that he kind of dipped his shoulder away from one to get back into the pocket. Or no, it was the flip pass that he had to AJ Dillon. That's what it was.
Okay.
Yeah. But also, just to highlight, I think at this point you almost have to consider starting Sean Ryan.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
It just every time. I mean, every time we look, he's just, in my opinion, outperforming John Runyon.
Yeah, I think he got more snaps too.
Sorry, go ahead.
I think did he get more snaps than the previous?
No, John Runyon.
Not more than Runyon, but I think more than the game previously. I think he might have got a few more snaps.
Hold on, let me look real quick.
I can pull it up.
He had 13 in week 12. In week 11, he had 6.
In week 9, he had 15. I think that was
when injury though. There's an injury that would
I think at the very least, I think I said this to Jake the other day actually, that they should do what they're doing at left tackle with right guard.
Mm-hmm.
Where they're almost alternating series, or like if you fuck up, you're getting pulled and you're going to stay in until the other guy fucks up.
I agree.
Yeah.
All right. Bryant, what about the running game?
Not much, kind of the same thing, right? So once again, they kind of had to be creative, find a way to get the run game going. it wasn't very effective. But I mean, they kept running, so that was nice. Obviously, the keeper by Jordan Love was great. We cracked 100 yards, but we kind of had to find a way to get there. So 37 of them came out, 34 or 37 of them came on the run from Love. Then we had the nice end around to Jaden Reed. I will say I'm not a fan of I think his other carry was that short compressed end around. I hate that play. I feel like there's not enough room to get through. For some reason, I just still don't
speed on it either.
Yeah, I just don't understand. They continue on short yardage. They always seem to compress the line of scrimmage, and it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I'd rather
a bigger hole for AJ Dillon.
Exactly. AJ Dillon doesn't have to push through 2 or 3 people that are in a small space to get a first down. Just spread them out and then run them if you're going to do that, is my thought. But, I'm also not an NFL head coach, but it just doesn't seem like – it seems like anytime we're in short yardage, we're struggling, running into AJ Dillon because I think we're trying to get too cute. But that was once again on a, condensed formation. I'd rather just spread it out and turn around and hand it to AJ Dillon and let him smack the linebacker for the 1 yard.
Trust your lineman to get a better push too.
Exactly, and I trust AJ Dillon versus most linebackers if it's going to be a one-on-one situation. You know what I mean? To get a 1 yard gain
forward, yeah.
So exactly. So
Jake talked about the red zone offense in his show by himself yesterday. He is spending time with family tonight, so that's why there's no Jake today. But third down offense, Packers were 5 for 11. They were 0 for 1 on fourth down, just either a miscommunication or a bad play by either Love or Dillon resulted in not converting that fourth down. But on third down, they were 2 for 5 in the first half. That's 40%. 3 for 6 in the second half is 50%. Jordan Love on third down was 5 for 10 with 55 yards and 2 touchdowns. So the third down offense was pretty good. Could be, not a whole lot better, honestly. My goal at the beginning of the year was over 40%, and they are absolutely doing it.
I think that's pretty crazy that the numbers are that low. Low. I don't know. I felt like the whole game they were just moving the ball. There weren't a ton of 3-and-outs or getting
honestly,
the third down.
I had to guess. I would guess that most of those third downs came in the fourth quarter when they were just kind of bleeding the clock.
Yeah,
possibly. Yeah.
It seemed like a lot of the first and second downs were just converting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and obviously had a bunch of chunk plays again. They had 8 chunk plays, 15 plus yards this game again. So the offense was really good.
Yeah.
All right. Not speaking of the offense, actually, this is the most first quarter points they had since October 19th, 2014.
Wow. A long time ago.
It helps.
That's crazy considering the 2020 offense too.
I just want to say
because they were putting up points.
The one, thing that the refs, I felt like they were making some crappy calls against us. At least they let that play go. You know what I mean? A lot of times you see them ready to blow the whistle, against Pittsburgh on that play. At least they let it go and let it go to replay because it was pretty clear on review that he fumbled that ball. Yep. So we're one reffing crew away from having a winning record right now, but I feel like they're playing really well, and it was just nice to see that they got rewarded with making that play instead of a ref messing it up, because
a rare NFL W.
There's been a lot of games where the refs, that game last night was just disgusting. I don't know if
you see how many penalty yards they had combined?
Over 200 and
it was it was close to 300, and then it was 260 or something like that.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, but there were some calls against the Seahawks that were absolutely terrible. And then you pick up a flag where Geno almost got his head ripped off. I don't understand it. I don't know how they're they're that awful. Anytime a Dallas receiver got touched, it was a flag. But then you see Seattle getting knocked over and everything, or pulled and everything. It was horrible. It was a horrible reffing game last. And I don't mean to go off on the rest, but we've seen it kind of screw us over a couple times, or potentially this year already too. So
that's what it is. Bryant, how did special teams look?
Aside from Carlson, I think this probably was their best special teams game. The punter, he had 4 punts. All of them were inside the 20.
Dude, punt coverage was beautiful.
Yeah, and then not to mention the downing it at the 2-yard line. They had him pinned back most of the game. The coverage on kickoffs was really good. I think they had one 30-yard return, but then you also had that play where the guy came. It might have been Zane Anderson. I'm not sure. Flying around the corner and smacking the guy the 18.
Yep.
The stop on the fake punt was great because it It led to our only touchdown of the second half, I believe. Funny enough, I'm pretty sure on the show last week I said we can't leave 4 points on the board if we want to win this game, and we left 4 points on the board. So hopefully Carlson's going to figure it out, because like this is another game where like we really can't afford to leave points on the board. So it worked out for us last week, but we don't want to do that against Mahomes. So
yeah. I think people are overblowing Carlson a little bit. If you look at his overall numbers from the season, they're not that bad. I mean, last week they had a block kick that wasn't his fault. Josiah DeGuara completely, I don't know what the hell that was.
That was a couple weeks ago. Yeah.
Sorry, a couple weeks ago. Weeks are flying, but I mean, it's really not as bad as people. And the people that want to bring back Crosby, like, just leave it alone, man. It's not. He's not better than what Carlson is right now, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's just like the extra points and stuff. I mean,
don't get me wrong; it hurts. I guess the one, but like, it's not enough to like blow, huh?
And I guess did he miss 2 kicks this game, or just the extra point?
He missed the extra point field goal.
He missed the one because it was like 62 yards or whatever. But so I'm not going to count that one against him, really. But
I don't count that one against him.
Yeah, I mean, on the season, he's 20 for 23 on extra points. He had 1 blocked by negligence, and then he's missed 1 the last 2 weeks. And then he's 1 for 2 on field goals the last 2 weeks, but he's 15 for 19 on the year. And again, one of them was like a 63-yarder that they were just trying to give it a go.
I would love to see them do the free kick instead of that, where he just lines up and boots it, because that would have been kind of fun. But
yeah, it is what it is. It's not. I'm not really worried about it. 11 weeks into his career.
Overall, pretty good game from special teams.
So. Yeah. All right, Simon. How did the secondary do?
Also, shout out Jaden Reed for not allowing the onside kick.
Touche.
Oh yeah.
Well, yep.
Good call.
Oh, sorry. What was your question?
Secondary.
Secondary. I mean, I thought they were pretty solid for where we're at. Like, it's crazy to think of how badly hurt our secondary. We basically have a whole new secondary since we've started the season, and Preston Smith leading the way.
He's actually been decent in coverage.
It's so funny since that one game, he's been like solid in coverage. It's funny how things work out like that. Corey Ballantyne got absolutely smoked this game.
He's a practice squad player.
Yeah, he's definitely like a guy they were looking to pick on. He had 9 receptions on 11 targets for 171 yards and a touchdown. Yeah, he got absolutely smoked this game. Outside of that, though, I thought everyone else played pretty clean. Carrington Valentine, I thought he had another solid game, 4 receptions for 33 yards. Other than that, like I can't think of anything where anyone else had an egregious coverage or getting to miss tackles in a minute, but I can't really think of much else. Oh, and then they gave up a bullshit touchdown at the end of the game.
Yeah, it's garbage.
That was on Jonathan Owens. The score is definitely not indicative of how this team played.
Yeah. And we said that actually about the first Packers-Lions matchup, where it ended up being a closer game than it actually was.
No, they got absolutely demolished the first time, and I felt like we absolutely demolished the Lions this time.
And I'm going to say something on one of the other plays too.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens if I don't know what to think about Ja, because he's you limit practice every week, the last 3 weeks, or every day pretty much, and then he doesn't play. So I'm not. But it'll be interesting to see if he plays how him and Savage play, how they'll do the rotation or what they'll do with that.
That'll be really interesting.
Mm-hmm. I think they'd have to use Jair a little bit more. Obviously, we talked about Ballantyne being picked on. I do think the safeties, having played pretty well in the absence of Savage and Ford, does give them a little more leeway with Savage.
And Stokes is designated a return too. He's not going to play this week.
He's not going to
play. I think he's listed as doubtful, but
doubtful. Yep.
Yeah, he's definitely not going to play.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see if they put Savage in the slot at all or what. So I'm looking forward to seeing it. So
I mean, Keyshawn Nixon is, I don't know. I feel like I don't hear his name a lot, which I think is a good thing because that means he's not getting torched or anything like that. But I'm trying to find him on the list here to see.
He's had his ups and downs for
he
sure.
Gave up 4 receptions for 56 yards.
Yep.
Which I don't know. Obviously, like you can only do what you can do. He is also credited for 3 run stops. So I mean, could be worse, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so I mean, you could just keep going. Tackling and defensive line. Jake's rush defense segment is out because he did that yesterday. But yeah, Simon, tackling and the defensive line.
Yeah, tackling. Anthony Johnson Jr. got. Him and Ballantyne both together missed 7 tackles. Outside of that, I feel like everyone else was pretty solid. I can't, like I said, I can't really think of a play where they missed a tackle and a dude went for like 50 yards or something.
I think I saw too that like the Packers had 12 missed tackles. I think I saw that Montgomery forced 6 misses.
Oof.
So,
but
last time we played, he had 8. So.
Not to get off on like from the tackling, but I thought it was kind of weird how they got away from the run game. The Lions, that is. Like they got away from the run game like pretty quickly. I felt like they could have had an Atlanta type comeback because it's not like we stopped them from running the ball that much. I think Goff just missed on a few throws and the game kind of got away from them, so they became one-dimensional.
I feel like maybe they almost play kind of like we do. As soon as we're down 1 score, we think we have to throw.
Yep.
A lot of times, so.
I mean,
recently with no running back, not no running backs. I think obviously we have
no consistent run game,
but no consistent run game. We've kind of been like that. So
yeah,
I will say. So looking at it, David Montgomery averaged 4.7 yards per carry, and Jahmyr Gibbs averaged 4.9. They only had 77 yards after contact. That's 2.7 yards, 2.75 yards per attempt after contact. That's not
so
bad.
Their offensive line was opening holes.
It's
the team was just
that's
able
better
to.
than they have been.
Yeah,
so
and the team was able to tackle.
That on paper that they averaged a lot of yards per attempt, but it didn't sway the game for them, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was definitely weird in that aspect of it, but
the W is a W.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
Right,
no complaints here. Defensive line, crazy. Like this was like pass rush wise, they were making the Lions look like JUCO level in pass protection. It was insane how much pressure they got. Like I said, Kenny Clark played well. Carl Brooks, I mean, he could have easily been like an underrated player himself. But yeah, like I couldn't believe how much, like, because the first game they were able to get like nothing on Goff.
Yeah,
like he wasn't touched like the whole game. It felt like. But what'd you see? Did you see how much they got? 25, I think, pressures.
33
pressures. Not to get in the pass rush too much.
Kenny Clark 8, Carl Brooks 5,
8.
Preston Smith 5, Enigbari 4, Gary 4, Van Ness, Quay, Wyatt had 2 each, and Slayton had 1.
I thought Wyatt was having a really good game too.
Yeah.
Before he ended up getting hurt.
We brought up one of his run plays actually. This run play here, I got it right here. This running play by Devontae Wyatt to get this push and then get inside and stop the ball carrier. That's a great play by Devontae Wyatt.
Yeah, and he's back healthy again this week, so that's good to see.
Yep.
Yeah, look at the shove he gets on. Ooh, speaking of the defensive line, I saw this. Let me go back to what I was looking at because it was like a disgustingly low number, and I thought it was funny.
Yeah, while you look for that, I just want to.
So Graham Glasgow had a pass block rating, according to PFF, of 2.2.
Oof.
I've never seen anyone rated that low.
Pretty low.
He's the guy that got destroyed by Kenny on that one that I saw earlier too.
Kenny must have been just hovering or like over him all night. Yeah, 2.2. He allowed 8 pressures.
Damn.
Hey, December Kenny arrived a little early.
Yeah. Kaeda Owasaka. Sorry, I butchered that one. Allowed 7 pressures. So their interior offensive line was just getting destroyed.
I gotta say, the defensive line was like a question mark coming into the season. Like that was one of the things we were watching in preseason to see what came out of it. They've been fantastic.
Yeah.
Slayton's taking a jump. Devontae Wyatt is getting better. He's improving. Kenny Clark's a monster. And then Carl Brooks and even Colby Wooden, for rookies, have both been pretty productive.
Yeah.
I give Gutekunst full bars for what he's done with the defensive line.
You're not allowed to give Goot credit.
Yeah, you're right. He deserves no credit. Yep. Barry said, "Who wants Barry gone now?" I don't. I mean,
speaking of,
if people just take seriously just a week by week subjective look at the defense, like the tackling is easily one of the easiest things to bring up when you talk about players versus coordinators who deserves, quote unquote blame, which we've talked about that too, trying to play the blame game. It's just a bullshit thing that people want to have. Like, well, if this one thing was different, everything else would have been different. And it's just never that case. But just to go week by week, like Joe, I don't have any problems with Joe Barry this year. You can look for outlier plays here and there, but overall, in the course of the season, I have no problems with Joe Barry.
I agree.
There's good days and bad days, and that's every single player, every single coach, every single coordinator, and the GM. Everybody has their good days and bad days, and good rounds drafting. Because obviously, we know Gutekunst struggles in the 3rd round, but Tucker Kraft,
Sean Ryan, cross your fingers.
Fingers crossed. Got it. All right, Bryant, red zone defense.
So initial look at the numbers, people were like, "Oh, that didn't look all that great." But so because the Lions did go 3 for 4, but there's a couple of things I want to talk about that make it not that 3 for 4, yes, but the one stop was huge. We stopped them from making a 1-score game with 6:46 left in the game, and then the offense did the job because the next time the Lions got the ball back, there was only 2:42 left in the game, right? So they ran over 4 minutes off. That's when we were playing soft, but keeping them in the field. They go down and score, but they only scored with 41 seconds left.
Mm-hmm.
So, you let that score if they're going to go down, use over 2 minutes to do it, including their timeouts and the 2-minute warning that, you're going to give up that touchdown. It's okay because then it comes down to a onside kick. And I know we have, a little bit of PTSD from onside kicks, but overall I thought they did a pretty good job. So they went 3 for 4 in the red zone, but we created a couple turnovers, shortly before the red zone. And then we had the one huge stop on 4th down in the red zone. I mean, so overall pretty good.
Bryant, that was 9.5 years ago. Get over it.
I know. I was about to say it was almost a decade ago.
I'll never get over it. Okay. I was a freaking ALC. With you.
Yeah, I was an ALC. Unfortunately,
you were drunk at a B-dubs, okay?
Yeah, I got fucking hammered. You remember me talking shit to that Cowboys fan?
I don't.
No, I was fucking hammered, and this Cowboys fan who we beat the week before, I think.
Was that the Des didn't draw?
Yeah. And he started talking shit. I just lost it. Not my proudest moment.
All right. I want to talk about one thing. Bryant, I want to get your thoughts on it before I kind of talk on it a little bit. But what did you think about the Packers going for 2 when they were up 15 points?
Okay, so I know why you're asking me. I didn't like the decision because I thought it opened the door, and they had a little momentum because we weren't doing too much in the second half. I feel like you take the extra point there. I know Carlson had missed one, but you take the extra point there because you can't lose the game if you kick it. Because in 2 scores, I should say, you can't lose the game in 2 scores.
Assuming he makes it,
and you make it. Assuming you make it, I would like to think he's going to make the extra point.
But you make the 2. That's a 3-possession game.
Correct.
That's where I was going with.
Yeah. So I understand both sides of it. At the time, I'm like, kick it, make it so they have to score 2 touchdowns and convert 2 extra points, which is already a low percentage, and then also they would only be able to tie you at that point. So I felt like the way the game was going, if the Lions were to go score again, we hadn't stopped their 2-point conversions yet, and I don't think we've been overly. I don't know. I have to look up the stats, but I feel like we've had a pretty high conversion rate against us this year. I feel like they're probably going for 2. So I thought at that point, I was like, yeah, the Lions. So I just felt like make them score twice and get 2 2-point conversions. To me, that's almost just as good as it being a 3-score game in a weird way. But I understand the logic and the thinking as well.
I want to throw this out there. Let's say they get 2 touchdowns, they get the first 2-point conversion, they go for the second one to try to make it 30-29. What if they miss that and lose 29-28 and Dan Campbell has 2 really aggressive play calls that don't go his way and they end up losing the game because of it? How quickly do you think Detroit fans will turn on him?
Yeah, I don't know. If they go for 2 and win it to try to win it, I think they would have been okay with it, especially seeing how the way the game was going.
Yeah.
But
I think
they
Detroit
get used to
okay with it.
I think they've gotten really used to how aggressive Dan Campbell is in any. I mean, even this game where I think they went 0 for 4 on 4th, if I'm not mistaken. Even some of the fans were like kind of okay with it, or they love his aggressive play calling in those situations. I don't think there would have been too many people that were like off with his head about it.
Yeah.
Especially where they're sitting right now. They're 2.5 games ahead in the division. I don't think it would have been that bad, in my opinion, anyways.
I'm just thinking of it as like seeing the other perspective of if they kick the field goal, they go into overtime. Like, hey, we were down by 15 points. We came all the way back to tie it. Momentum's on our side. Just go to overtime and win it in overtime.
Yeah. I could see that too.
Yeah, and I can see exactly what you guys are saying too. To go for it, they love the aggressive nature. They know he's aggressive. Just throwing that out there as a.
I mean, Packers fans would lose it, but
yeah, so I can see it both ways. I just felt like making it 2 scores and 2 2-point conversions was just as good as making it
a 3-possession game
where they would have won with a field goal, pretty much, right? So, that was my thought process.
Yeah, I get
like
that.
Putting it a little farther out of reach for a team that, given their talent level, and Simon talked about the decimated secondary that the Packers have. It does seem like the Lions are capable of scoring really quickly. Whereas if they had recovered that onside kick with 41 seconds left, like it'd be a little bit like, oh shit, like, again, I can see it both ways. Okay, so credit to Bryant. Bryant called for the Packers to start the game with a touchdown. I don't know if you went as far as to think that Matt LaFleur was going to win the toss and take the ball, but it did work. And Matt LaFleur said that they wanted to be aggressive. They wanted to set the tone, and that's why they took the ball. So great work on Matt LaFleur coaching that, and good call by Bryant calling for them to go score a touchdown to start the game.
And I mean, the commentators even said it, right? They're like, you could hear, they said it's super silent. And of course, the Lions go down and score again, but I feel like we already showed that we can score when that place is rocking. We punch them in the mouth, turn around, score again. And then the next thing you know, we get the touchdown. We're up 20-7 or whatever it was.
20-6 because they missed the extra point on the
first. Oh, yeah, 26, yeah. So.
Yeah, Lions should cut their kicker.
They should.
For sure.
They should cut Amon right. St. Brown, trade him to us for a 7th-round pick.
Yeah. We could always revisit Scary Terry for Aaron Jones straight up.
Yeah.
I don't mind that.
Do it now.
I've seen some places. All right. Joe Barry. I think this is maybe his best game on mixing coverages and dialing up blitzes.
Yes.
The blitzes got guys in positions to get sacks and turnovers. I mean, we brought 33 pressures is fucking ridiculous. Against a bad offensive line, that's ridiculous. Not to mention a top 3 offensive line, probably top 2 offensive line in the NFL. To get 33 pressures is outrageous. Like, Dan Campbell was probably punching air when he saw that. He might have been punching people. He's weird.
Something kneecaps or some shit.
Yeah, it's something. And then the special team stopped the fake punt. So, I mean, at all 3 levels, I think the coaching was done well and the execution was there. And then on time of possession, the Lions did win time of possession 32-28, but Green Bay did score a defensive touchdown. which shortens the game by 1 possession because the ball goes right back to the offense, obviously. So,
Yep.
Not super worried about time of possession on that. Let's talk about Jordan Love. Simon, what do you think about Jordan Love?
Another week where it's like, man, this was his best game of the year.
Literally what I started
Third one in a row.
I put once again for what seems like the 4th game in a row. I think this is Love's best game as a starter.
I put keeps getting better and better and better is what I put.
It just, it's, and even Andy Reid, I don't know if you mentioned this earlier, but Andy Reid even kind of shouted him out earlier in a presser. Was like the day from his first start in Kansas City to now is just incredibly different. I don't know what he's able to do, and man, it just seems like he's getting in a more consistent rhythm too in the offense, and everything's starting to click for the pass catchers. And he's just throwing some darts, man. Yeah. Where like things that he might have missed earlier in the year, he's like just hitting on now, and that's the thing that you want as a Packers fan, and that's what every fan should want. And I feel like now we're starting to see the Jordan Love naysayers kind of hide away a little bit. And that's what you love. We love to see as like just avid supporters of the team and guys we like seeing succeed instead of, crapping on them for maybe not playing as well.
6 games.
But yeah, what a game by Love. He was absolutely dealing this game, and I think I talked to you guys earlier in the week about it, or last week. I can't remember. This last week's been a blur, but the QB school, the guy that runs that page and whatever social media he is on, he basically does a breakdown of Love like every single week, and
he does all the quarterbacks, not just Love. Just to put that out there.
Good point.
I don't want to give opportunity for people to be like, "Whoa, he's biased. He talks about Love every week."
Sorry, that's a good point. Like he does one on every QB every week, and it's about a 30-40 minute video of him breaking down different plays, and he goes through the good and the bad. Like there's still, Love obviously still has flaws to his game, and and he points them out. But you love seeing the off-platform throws that he's able to make that not that many QBs in the NFL can make. And it's almost, I hate saying this because we don't like to talk about him, but it's like Rodgers-esque in a way, where he's just like falling backwards. He's still able to zip it, 14 yards across the field on a dot.
I will say he doesn't have quite as much arm strength as Aaron Rodgers, and hopefully he didn't pick up because Aaron Rodgers, like for a while, wouldn't set his feet. But the only one you could really point to this time was the one to Christian Watson, and he had someone in his face immediately on that one. So he did, but like Aaron Rodgers probably has arm strength to get that there anyway. Jordan Love is just a little less, but I think he's going to learn more and more to plant his feet.
He has if you watch the video, one thing that he notices that Love does is he puts a little extra like hitch on his back foot instead of planting and driving through his hips to get all that power on it. He'll have a little extra hitch, which I'm sure they notice.
They'll identify.
That causes him to have a little less power through his throws than he should be able to have.
Yep. Gets a little bouncy is what it seems like.
That's a good word for it. I like that.
Absolutely. Cannot recommend the QB school enough. His work is fantastic. It's a level I think we aspire to, and hopefully a future guest of the show. Love to have him on to talk to him about Jordan Love. But can't recommend the QB school enough if you want to learn more about Jordan Love's performances. Bryant, what are you looking at from Jordan Love?
So kind of like Simon said, this like 4th game in a row, I'm like, man, this is his best game. So I will say his receivers made a lot of plays for him, but he also put them in a position to let them make those plays for him. So that was really good. Like the ball's in play, gives him a chance to make it. I kind of talked about the story about Jordan Love's confidence. Like, no, I want that deep throw right away. The really only thing I don't know how we get through the show without saying is the fact that Fox didn't have a turkey leg for Gary and Love at the end of the game is honestly embarrassing.
Did I ever officially come out?
I don't know if they ever said it's true that they have the
I saw a story on it, but I saw.
Yeah, but they haven't denied it either. And if they did that, that's just like come on, man. It's like NFL any given Sunday, right? So it was really embarrassing. And it felt like it probably is partially true because you could see like they scrambled and tried to get behind, oh, we're going to donate 10,000 to your favorite charity. Like, great. Do that and have a damn turkey. A turkey is $60 or whatever to cook it. You know what I mean? You're talking about John Madden all morning. You're talking about how great he was, and then you don't have a freaking turkey. Like, and what do we talk about? I said that my birthday was the next day, and the only thing I want is to see Jordan Love eating a turkey leg, and he had the performance to do that, and then they stole it from me.
This close. They stole it from me.
They stole it from me.
You crushed a grown man's hopes and dreams.
Very something out loud. They let John Madden down.
It was so bad. Even the Black Friday game had a
big deal because it's a turkey. You know, it's like, oh, it's turkey. It's $60.
That is a staple. That is a Thanksgiving staple.
It's the symbolic aspect of it.
I mean, they've been doing it for what, 20-some years?
Yeah, and you watched. I mean, think about when we watched. You know, Brett Favre and Almon Green eating a turkey and Aaron Rodgers eating a turkey leg. Like, come on, man.
Like, it's his first Thanksgiving Day game and he balled out.
He may never have that opportunity again. I'm sure they'll play in his career as a Packer quarterback. Hopefully they'll play the Lions again on Thanksgiving, but who's to say we beat them? You know what I mean? Like, and then beat them in that fashion when we're the
Detroit, man.
We're the 4-6 underdog coming against the
they were 8.5 point underdogs.
Exactly. Huge underdogs. And we smack them up and down the field. And then
in their building,
and you don't have that there for them. Yeah. Like that's just a mega L for Fox.
Yeah, I hear you. Matt LaFleur said it's a night and day difference with Jordan Love from 5 or 6 weeks ago.
Yeah,
those are Matt LaFleur's words. He is the completion percentage. People have also gotten quiet. Last week it was 67.5. This week 68.8. And coming into this game, Detroit actually had the number 8 opponent completion percentage allowed. So going against a solid secondary as well.
I have a feeling they'll pipe up again this week because looking at Kansas City's stat, it's going to be a tough game to throw the ball.
Yeah,
we'll see what happens. Yeah, anything can happen, right? But I'm sure they'll be like, "See, we told you." If he has the struggles throwing the ball, but we'll see.
And I'll say this: if Jordan Love balls out this week, the Jordan Love apology form is coming.
Yeah.
It's a little bit in the back of the mind, like in the works, but if it happens against Kansas City that he plays really well, it's coming out. This game, Jordan Love had some more sweet arm angle throws, threw into some super tight windows, and again, putting guys in position where they have the opportunity to make contested catches. I didn't really see a lot of 50-50 balls. Like the contested catches that the Packers had were, for the most part, that I can think of, balls that only his receivers could catch. And the one that he threw to Dobbs across the middle of the field where the DB kind of got on his back, should have been defensive holding because the dude had Romeo Dobbs' jersey tugged.
Yep.
And B was off, like we talked about the off-platform throws. His feet were like pointed towards like the corner of the end zone, and he threw the ball straight with his arm like this. Like, that was a crazy throw.
This is going to be a fun game to watch because you're going to see some weird, just awkward angle throws by both quarterbacks and everything like that. It should be a pretty good, fun game to watch, hopefully, anyway.
Barry said if Love plays good this week, we're heading to the playoffs, no doubt. I like the optimism.
Dude, I seen earlier, at the beginning of this week, if we finish, or for first off, if we win out, we're in the playoffs. We control our own destiny here. Now, tell me that's not a little bit of like deja vu from last year when we got to this point in the season, right? And then 2, if we beat the Chiefs and we finish, like, our chance to make the playoffs go to like something like crazy. It was in the 90%. If we finish 4-6, we're still at between 75 and like 80-something% to make the playoffs, as long as the loss doesn't come to the Vikings.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So if we finish 4-6 and we beat the Vikings and say we lose to the Chiefs, and do we play another AFC team? Either way, if it's something like that, there's a decent chance they make it at 9-8. But
they play Tampa, Carolina, Chicago, Minnesota, Kansas City,
Giants,
and the Giants.
Yeah. Okay, but yeah, so it'd be like a loss to the Giants or something stupid like that. Like,
I'd be annoyed if we lost to the Giants. I wouldn't be like breaking shit, but
the Denver loss doesn't feel as bad now. But because they haven't lost since they beat us. So
yeah,
with wins against Kansas City and Buffalo.
Yeah, what a turnaround by the Broncos. Sorry.
Yeah. Jake and I talked about this the other day, though, with the, people are like, oh, if we hadn't lost to the Falcons or the Raiders or the Broncos, and we talked about it, like, they had to go through that to get to where they are. They don't get to where they are without going through what they've gone through. That's how you learn from these things. That's the trending up. They're trending in the right direction. They're not stagnating. They're not making the same mistakes. They are getting better from learning from things they've made mistakes on in the past.
This is exactly what we all talked about at the beginning of the year before it started. What do we want to see? We want to see that Jordan Love is a guy, and we want to see that we're competing. We might not make the playoffs, but close, tough losses aren't a bad thing. I think our margin of loss are pretty minimal aside from the Lions game. It's exactly what we want to see. Honestly, it reminds me a lot of Aaron Rodgers' first into second year, because in the second year, we remember that's the year we lost to the Arizona Cardinals. We might be a step ahead of where we were when we had Aaron Rodgers come in. I'm not saying Love is Aaron Rodgers or anything. I'm saying this team is kind of in that realm right now.
And they're way younger.
Way younger.
I think I have more PTSD from the Cardinals game than I do.
Well, we had 2 really ugly losses.
Julius Peppers,
Dude, do you remember that, man? Me and Simon watched the Hail Marys against the Cardinals game. We were on high, in my living room, and then instantly Larry Fitzgerald just completely killed us.
It sucks because I love Larry Fitzgerald
on a play that he was supposed to sag off on.
And I love Larry Fitzgerald, and I just wanted to lose my mind at that point.
Tough.
I will say we haven't spent a lot of time on our show comparing Jordan Love to Aaron Rodgers, but we talked about this in the preseason that we didn't want to compare him to Aaron Rodgers. Obviously some of the statistical things are obviously going to come out, and we're going to mention his name because he played for the team for almost 2 decades. But we wanted to compare Jordan Love more to himself the day before and the week before, or the game before. And looking at it, this game against Detroit was Jordan Love's highest rating and by far his highest quarterback rating. So that's the last thing I wanted to say on Jordan Love. Anything else you guys want to say about the Packers and Lions game?
No, it was just so fun to watch, man.
Yeah, what a great win. It was just unexpected.
Aside from the turkey leg, how great is it that after they smoked us in Lambeau, you've seen the Lions fans, they're crowning themselves before the season began, and then they're all crapping on us after that game. How does it feel?
What did I say? I told Lions fans to act like you've been there before. Yeah. And nope, they're like, nope, here we go, we're the alpha dogs. We're going to beat the shit out of you in Detroit. Karma, it's karma.
What happened?
Yeah, what happened? All right. Simon, what are you looking for from the Packers offense against the Chiefs?
Bryant kind of already alluded to it. I feel like the passing game is going to be a little harder to come by this week against a fairly strong.
Here we go with Taylor Swift.
I'm not. Who said that?
Brittany Dix.
Where are you? Okay, I'm not looking at comments or anything. Their secondary is playing a really strong this year, so I feel like getting the run game would be really nice this week to help me open up the passing game a little bit more. I feel like that's going to be the key. And then the interior offensive line has to be stout. Chris Jones is still a monster. He's definitely going to get after Love.
It's okay, Brittany, I'm just teasing.
Fucking Taylor Swift, god damn it.
Dude, I said this. I'm like, Taylor Swift and Simone Biles are both going to be in the same football stadium on Sunday. There's going to be more non-football interested females watching this game than ever before.
I believe that.
Yeah.
Michael said both of our offensive and defensive lines played very well. Offensive line has been coming together. Nice to see. Thoughts? I think the thing that we really kind of hung on the offensive line was maybe trying the left tackle rotation at right guard with Runyon and Ryan.
Yep.
Barry's got the old weather report in there already. Anything else you want to say on the offense, Simon? Or
that was kind of it.
Okay. Bryant, what are you looking for from the Packers offense against the Chiefs?
Kind of exactly what Simon said, right? So the Chiefs give up the third least amount of points at 16.5 points per game, third least passing yards per game at 176, which has really been our strength of how we've been winning, right? Is throwing the ball. They have 37 sacks. They're tough on third down, tough on fourth down, and they're also the least penalized team in the NFL. So and that's kind of a stark contrast to us. The one weakness, if you want to call it a weakness, is that they have given up 113 rush yards per game, but they are the fifth worst in the league, allowing 4.6 yards per carry. And I think the reason that the yards per game isn't as higher because they've probably pulled away and people feel like they always have to throw against them to stay in the game. So I think the running game has to be key. I know we're not super healthy, but if we need to get Patrick Taylor some more carries, if Aaron Jones needs to run the rock, Jordan Love, Jaden Reed, if we're going to do some end arounds with Christian Watson, like do it where he has space and not a condensed formation like that one that they did. Another thing is with the running backs, they've allowed 80% completion to running backs out of the backfield. But I mean, the yards per average is only like 5.4. But if you do that twice a drive, I'm not saying they're going to do that twice a drive, but you can make some checkdowns there because against wide receivers, they're only allowing 57% completion for one because they get absolutely destroyed. They get after the quarterback, Chris Jones, Karlaftis. They have like 4 or 5 people with over 3 sacks. It's a deep team. Hopefully our offensive line is ready. They've been ready the last couple games. They've done well against Watt. They did well against Hutchinson. So they're going to need another big game here. But I think the running game is going to be key.
Brittany said, I think this game is going to be a nail biter, to be honest. And it could be. And the home field advantage is what really gives me a little bit more confidence in the Packers. Whereas if playing in this game in Kansas City, be like, all right, let's keep it close. But we're in Lambeau. Let's go win this game.
We have a puncher's chance.
Sure. Is what it is. Jordan Love in the first matchup against the Chiefs 2 years ago, he was 19 of 34. He had 1 touchdown, 1 interception. I expect that he will be much better now than he was 2 years ago. That said, in that game, he threw 34 passes. 14 of them went to Devontae Adams. And 5 of them went to Randall Cobb.
Probably all on the outside of the field.
Maybe. Here's the thing. Devontae Adams had 6 receptions on 14 targets. Randall Cobb had 3 receptions on 5 targets. Jordan Love targeting anybody else was 100%. So I'm going to come back to that because I think the passing distribution is way better now, and I think it's going to be extremely important. Jake bought box tickets next to Taylor Swift. I'll let Bryant go first on the defense. Bryant, what are you looking for from the Packers defense against the Chiefs?
So the Chiefs don't have the same weapons they did a few years ago. So everyone thinks they're, not playing well. And they are struggling some, but they're struggling as still 11th best for points per game in the NFL. They're still scoring, 24 points per game. So Mahomes does have 21 touchdowns, but he has thrown 11 picks as well. So if he does give us a chance, we have to capitalize. Absolutely have to capitalize on it. So he has only been sacked 14 times, so it's going to be hard to get home. But however, he has been hurried in the most times in the NFL, but they throw a lot. So this is where I was talking about what Simon said earlier about the 3.7. So I don't know if you know this, but Mahomes has, and this is probably why his sacks are low. Mahomes has one of the lowest air yards per attempt in the entire NFL at only 3.7 yards. His average pass only travels 3.7 yards in the air before being caught.
Interesting.
So he's throwing close to the line of scrimmage. So, hopefully we try to get in their face and we play a little press and don't.
Is that true?
I feel like, yeah. So we have allowed some big games to tight ends. So if we can slow down Travis Kelce, now that his little girly friend is in the stadium, they're going to try to force him the ball. So we will want to play better. That's a joke, but they do seem to try to force him to get him a touchdown when she's in the stadium. So as for running the ball, they're in the middle of the pack, 2 yards per carry. But Isaiah Pacheco is dangerous. Like he can be explosive in the passing game and the running game. So I feel like we need to press him a little bit. Force him to get rid of the ball quite a bit. So another stat here. Give me 1 second. Let me find it. Where did that go?
So I just wanted to look this up while you're on that subject of the air yards. The guy that I think, I don't have him as my X factor, but I think a guy who is an X factor in that situation is Jerick McKinnon. He's officially listed as questionable. So he's definitely going to be a guy to keep an eye on because he is Patrick Mahomes' safety valve.
So along with that not being sacked much, he has the most recorded hurries in the NFL. That goes along with them throwing the ball a lot too. But I feel like if we play press on them a little bit and we can get some pressure, we might actually be able to get home a little bit this game.
Yeah, Brittany said need Gary to keep up his performance with the sacks. And we're not expecting 3 sacks again. I mean, he's already got 3-sack game this season, so I mean, I'd be super stoked if he did.
Like I said, Kansas City's given up 14 sacks in 11 games, so that would be pretty insane.
Yeah, that'd be wild. But then again, we didn't think that they'd get home that often against Detroit either.
Yeah.
Okay, so for me, again, I looked at the 2021 matchup to see what successfully the Packers did because they held Kansas City to 13 points when they had Tyreek Hill. So Kevin King, surprisingly, and Darnell Savage were very good in that matchup. They were 4 for 10 combined when targeted in 2021. So we obviously don't have those two anymore, but we still have Darnell Savage depending on how much he's going to play. We did have very, very poor linebacker play in that game. And now we have Quay Walker. So I think much better linebacker play could be in store than the last time we played the Chiefs, which my thought is I would like as many different looks at Travis Kelce as possible. Not just to say, hey, we're going to put Devondre Campbell on him and we're just going to leave that alone. But to continue, like whether it be bracket coverage with a linebacker and a safety or trying to jam him at the line of scrimmage, using linebackers, just mixing things up between man, zone. I'm expecting a lot of one-on-one coverage on their wide receivers. Their wide receivers, they don't scare anybody. Like they have capable guys. They have guys who have played well, sporadically. They don't have a consistent the guy at their wide receiver position.
I think Rashee Rice is kind of making his.
He's getting there.
That's what I was going to allude to. Is that's like fair. He's getting better and better. I feel like
that's fair. So again, but even still, he's a rookie at the end of the day. If you put Jair on him, like I'm not worried at all about it.
Yeah, they have to spread the ball around a lot.
MVS is still MVS, and Kadarius Toney doesn't scare anybody. Sky Moore hasn't taken a big second-year leap like a lot of wide receivers do. I think the Packers can play a lot of one-on-one coverage on their wide receivers, and then I think they'll play a lot of zone coverage, which people don't like, but it is what it is. Especially when you have a guy like Travis Kelce. I do really, really think that they need to give him as many different looks as possible so that he can't get comfortable and be like, okay, this is what they're doing.
I agree. Yeah, that Watson makes some plays from Rashee Rice's look good. I mean, they do spread the ball a lot. So, and of course, if MVS is going to make a play this year, it'll probably be against us.
Yeah, right.
I think, yeah.
He'll make like some ridiculous catch.
Right.
All right. Simon, what's the matchup you're watching?
Linebackers versus Travis Kelce. I think you already talked about it enough.
Yep.
But protecting the middle of the field, not allowing him to get a lot of yak, too. I think that's going to be. I mean, Travis Kelce has been a staple of that offense for years now, and it's not going to change come Sunday.
Yeah, I put Joe Barry versus Travis Kelce. Just like everything I just said about giving him different looks and all that. That's where I'm at with the matchups. But Bryant, what's the matchup you're watching?
Same, right? I put Quay Campbell and safeties versus Kelce. I really think if they can kind of limit him, I think that's where the struggles creep in a little bit for the Kansas City's offense, because I feel like those other wide receivers can make plays. They spread the ball a lot, but yeah.
Yeah. Barry said Andy's going to be busy thinking about who has the best cheeseburger in Green Bay.
He's going to go to Kroll's right after the game.
All right. Simon, who's your X factor?
I think AJ Dillon's going to be the X factor.
Good one.
AJ Dillon. I took it for Bryant.
See my
I already talked about getting the run game going, and with Aaron Jones out again this week, it's looking like a AJ Dillon show. He's going to probably have another 15, 20 carries this game. I'd love to see him get close to the century mark this game, have over 4 yards per carry. But also, AJ Dillon's been sneakily good in the passing game this year.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Oh, okay. That's what I'm here for.
Attaboy. Good job. I give you credit once in a while. I can't fire you every time you speak.
Yeah, true.
Michael said Tucker Kraft for X Factor. I like it. All right, Brian, who's your X Factor?
Can I go X Factor and then key to the game so Simon doesn't steal more from me? Or
I'll let you go first for key to the game.
Yeah, X Factor is AJ Dillon. So, did you already say yours?
I did not say mine yet.
Okay.
Mine is Christian Watson. We talked about Jordan Love getting better every game. Can Christian Watson put together another good game? Because when Christian Watson has good games, I believe that it opens things up for everybody else. When Christian Watson's playing really well, it puts eyes on him. And it allows guys like Jaden Reed, Romeo Dobbs, and Malik Heath even, and now Dontavian Wicks is going to be back. If all those guys are getting one-on-ones, they've all been good at it, especially last week. They were all fantastic, all of them, except for Dontavian Wicks because he didn't play. But they were all very good. Malik Heath being 4 for 4 and 3 for 3 on contested catches is amazing. All right. And I will say on the subject of Jaden Reed and Christian Watson using them on those end of rounds, I brought it up last week that it's a way to possibly negate some of the pass rush. That could be a factor again this week as well. All right. Bryant, what's your key to the game?
So I'll run the ball effectively, obviously, but this is what I want to say about it. And control the clock to make sure – we want to be able to make sure we use the run game throughout the whole game, right? So the Chiefs have won the time of possession battle in 8 of their 11 games. In 2 of the 3 that they lost at the possession battle, they lost, all right? And their other loss was against the Eagles, and it was literally pretty much a 50-50 split on that. So in 2 of the 3 games that they didn't win the possession battle, they lost that game. And then in their 3 losses, this is why I'm saying we need to be able to run the ball the entire time and kind of control the clock. In their 3 losses, they've scored a total of 6 points in the second half. So those 6 quarters, they've scored 6 points. So if we keep this game close and don't let them kind of get in their groove, and we can run the ball and we can do it in the second half, I feel like they're going to struggle to score again, especially if we get like someone like Jair back and some other players, and we have a good plan for, Kelsey. Now, if we come out and we play soft like we have sometimes against, and as we just talked about, Mahomes isn't throwing the ball down the field. If we just let them kind of dink and dunk against us, they're going to be effective. So hopefully they just get ready to pressure this guy.
That kind of makes me feel like the Packers should, like, if they win the toss, take the ball and go score again.
Yeah, possibly. Be nice.
Simon, what's your key to the game?
For the offensive line to win up front.
I like it.
Yeah, in the run game and in pass pro as well. Giving AJ Dillon enough room and keeping Jordan Love upright, and that kind of plays into Bryant's ability to just move the ball effectively and win the time of possession battle.
Yeah, so when I touched on it in the offense, I'm coming back to it. For me, the key to the game is the passing game distribution. To have, and I'm going to say it again, I've said this probably 15 times over the course of the season, to throw out the depth chart wide receiver 1 concept. Get rid of it. We have 4 guys, I would say, between Watson, Dobbs, Reed, and I'll throw Dontavian Wicks in there because he's shown it a couple times this year. 4 guys that can be a wide receiver 1 on a given week, and on any given play, they all can be. So with Kansas City to not have a Devontae Adams to hyper-focus on like we did when we played him in 2021, Jordan Love's been spreading the ball around to everybody. That is everybody that they have to have eyes on. And Simon brought up A.J. Dillon, who's been sneaky good in the passing game.
He's like an elegant person, just catching that and floating and getting it in the air and just kept running. I was like,
that was awesome. He just bounced right off. It's the distribution. This, like I said, this I think has been my favorite thing about Jordan Love this year is how well he's spread the ball around to all the weapons that he has on the field. So that for me is the key to the game. Barry did give the weather there. 25 degrees, 25% chance of precipitation, 5-mile-an-hour winds, cloudy. Whew. That's going to be cold. That's going to be December football.
Hell yeah.
Barry said the mayor of Door County is going to have a big game. And it would be a good game for him to have a big game. When it's cold, you punish him with the run. I mean, I don't think it's going to be snowing like it did against Tennessee, but that still, I think, is A.J. Dillon's best game. Uh-oh. Talking too much. All right. Bryant, give me your score prediction from the head.
From the head, it's worked for me so far, so I'm going to go with it, right? I'm going to put the Packers 17, Chiefs 24.
Okay. Simon, your score prediction from the head.
21-17 Packers. Or, I'm sorry, Chiefs.
All right. I have Chiefs 27-20. All right. Bryant, from the head, what is your score prediction?
From the heart?
From the heart. That's what I meant.
Yeah, Packers 23, Kansas City 21.
Ooh. Simon, what is your score prediction from the heart?
23-20 Packers.
Holy shit, we are all very close. I have 24-23 Packers. I think we've talked about it.
We don't think, I think either way, we think it'll be a one-score game.
Yeah, and I think that's what I was just actually going to say. We talked about this, like that we expect this Packers team to have a lot of close games. But to even be in it with Kansas City, I think would be a pretty decent statement to make. All right, Simon says, Bryant, what do you got?
All right. A.J. Dillon hasn't ran for 100 yards in a game since December 2020 against the Tennessee Titans. He rushes for his second career 100-yard game this Sunday.
Given what Kansas City is giving up, I could see it.
Yeah, I can see it.
If the Packers have a lead at any point.
That's the biggest determining factor is, I mean, we talked about it earlier, but once we get down like a score or two, we just abandon the run game altogether. So it's super dependent on if we take the ball and go down and score, I can see it. If the Chiefs take the ball, go down and score, and we fail to score, they score again. I doubt it. I highly doubt it.
I'll say on the offense, 3 different touchdowns to 3 different receivers. I'm calling for the same thing that happened last week.
I'm in it. I love it. I think we distribute the ball very well.
I mean, I can see a world where they score touchdowns on the ground, but just the way that they've been moving the ball with the passing game and the different route combinations and pre-snap motions and play actions and block and releases with tight ends, I'm feeling pretty confident in the Packers passing game right now.
Bear, if we shut out the Kansas City, I'll do the next show with my shirt off. I know you want to see that. So.
And outside.
I'm in North Dakota now. So. Not Georgia no more.
No, I won't. It was 0 degrees out today. I'm all right.
Okay. I will say defense. Defense, Bryant.
Now marks the start of December, Kenny. Green Bay Packers sack Mahomes 4 times.
I'm going to say no. I just feel like they get the ball out too fast for us to be effectively pressuring him. I would love to see. I love December Kenny, though.
Alrighty. I will say my defensive one isn't super spicy, but Travis Kelce under 80 receiving yards.
Yes. Yeah. I'm trying to think like guys who have been focal point of offenses this year haven't exactly killed us. I feel like maybe Bijan.
I go Amon-Ra last week. He wasn't crazy.
I heard you say Jake, but I can't recall exactly what it was.
I'm trying to think
from the head.
Trying to think of like other wide receiver tight end ones that we've played. Like,
Deontay
Johnson, is he still like a guy that you consider the guy?
No. That offense under Canada was terrible anyways.
That's true. So looking at Kelsey's last handful of games, 91, 44, 14 receiving yards against the Dolphins is wild. 58 against the Broncos, which the Broncos dominated that game.
Yeah.
179 yards against the Chargers, 124 yards against the Broncos in their previous matchup, then 67, 60, 69. Nice. And
Nice.
26 in his first game back from his injury.
Yeah, I'll take the under on it.
Jake said Love throws 5 touchdowns and make sure Andy Reid remembers his name.
How sick.
I forgot about that.
Jake said nice.
Nice. I forgot about that.
All right. Simon, you got any?
Jordan Love outperforms Patrick Mahomes.
God, I hope so.
With the weapons available, I see the route to it happening. I see the path.
I would just love it so much.
I'm telling you right now, if he does that, you'd go from outplaying Herbert to carving up and outplaying the Lions and Goff to then beating Mahomes on national television. Same thing that our Sunday Night Football. I mean, the win against the Lions was on, it was like 37 million people or something watched that game. I think
33?
It was the most watched
33 or
early
37 million
game in history.
So now people are, instead of just box score watching, early, and maybe they're like, holy crap, this dude can, his arm angles and the throw he makes. Yeah.
I want to see. I want to see a zone read for
Barry. I think they would all run away, to be honest.
Yeah.
I want to see a zone read touchdown.
Oh, Jake said it was 33.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Simon's not going to be here next week, but it would be me, Jake, and a puddle of ice cream on the show. So.
Wow.
Jake said Reed will have 2 of them. I would love for Jaden Reed to have 2 touchdowns. Jaden Reed has been absolutely better than advertised.
I love that.
Like I said, we talked about it. If Jordan Love carves up this game, the Jordan Love apology form's coming out.
Jaden Reed's kind of been he kind of shut me up because I was like during the draft I was like, man, I don't know about this.
I wish I had my notes though. I want to see. I think I had him rated decent because of his content.
I
remember writing my notes. I remember writing my notes, and I remember saying he plays bigger than his size.
Oh, here it is.
And 100% he's done that all year.
Let's see what I said about him. I think we split them up when we talked about the guys that we had.
I didn't pull them up.
I think I got rid of mine, to be honest.
Like we talked about different guys. We're like one of us talked about one guy.
Yep,
we did. Simon, you had Jaden Reed.
I did. Yeah.
Right.
No, I didn't.
You did. I have it in my notes right here. I'm looking at it.
No, I didn't. I had Zay Flowers, Rasheed Rice, Cedric Tillman, Parker Washington.
No. I mean, when we talked about the Packers draft picks.
Oh, okay.
We split them up.
Gotcha. I thought you meant the initial draft thing.
No.
Gotcha. I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Let's see if I can find my wide receiver.
I had him 16th.
I also had him 16th.
I had him. What'd you say I did?
Let me see what Bryant.
I think it was around that too, to be honest. But I remember writing that he plays bigger.
I only wrote down top 10, so I can't tell you what you had him as.
Oh, okay.
Barry said, I'm predicting we run the ball back to the house on the first kickoff of the game. That'd be
sick.
Nuts. I will say, I did well. I had Tank Dell higher than anybody else did. I had him at number 9. Or no, I had him 8. And I had Zay Flowers higher than anybody else. I had him at number 2.
I had Tank Dell 10. I had Zay Flowers at 4.
Yeah, I had Zay Flowers above JSN and Jordan Addison. And I had Rasheed Rice number 5.
I had 1, 2, 3, 7.
Yeah. So next year when we do draft prep, just listen to me and not anybody else.
Oh, okay.
I'm my notebook that I ended up getting rid of. I'm like sitting here looking over this stuff.
Yeah, I saved all of mine in folders.
No, I should have. I mean, I could go back and watch the show. I remember talking about him playing bigger than, or maybe that was when we did our little thoughts on the picks too.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah,
either way.
Yeah, Barry, it is what it is. We'll talk about the Bucs on Wednesday, and people still need to calm down. They're a quarter of the way into the season. The playoffs and finals are not played in November, so Jake,
So
he
they
did
have
tell
a
us
play-in tournament or some shit.
What
Yeah,
is the
they have
winner
the
of that
in-season
in tournament? I
tournament.
don't understand. I guess we can talk about that. I just don't understand what the player does. The winner of the in-season tournament get like an automatic playoff spot or something? Like I don't know.
No, everybody on the team gets $500,000.
Oh. I mean, that's a lot of money to us, but
Yeah, it's a lot of money to the guy on the end of the bench whose full season pays him $1.2 million.
that's
Yeah,
true.
that's true.
So that's kind of what it ends up coming down to is winning
playing
some extra
for-
cash for your teammates.
You're kind of
And you
playing
get a trophy. I mean, it's it's still a trophy.
Yeah,
It's
you're
not
kind of
the trophy, but it's still a trophy.
playing for the people that kind of help you guys like the stars prepare and stuff. So that's kind of nice. So
Yep.
that probably motivates them a little bit.
Yep. And it's $500,000 all at once. It's not 38,000 per game over the whole course of the season.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, we will be back next Friday. It sounds like Simon's not going to be with us for that one, but Jake, Bryant, and myself will be here. Other than that, we'll probably do a quick pop-up on Sunday at some point when they do the injury report announcements, which are 90 minutes before pregame. So we'll probably discuss that to see who's in and who's out. Hopefully everybody that's questionable is playing, but Aaron Jones is already confirmed out, and Eric Stokes is listed as doubtful. So we expect those two to be out, but we'll update everything else, and we'll refresh any other news that comes out between now and then. Other than that, thanks everybody for tuning in, commenting along. We will see you guys Sunday afternoon.